your faithful companion, Dark Magician!
Welcome along, fellow Dark Magician enthusiasts, to another video. Today's video is going to be covering some replays of the Freshy Cup No.3, which there was no deck list posted to Duel Links meta over the Freshy Cup, but still, with this whole tournament, I managed to get a top 4 placement in the Freshy Cup. It was hard fought battles, and I want to cover some of the replays that I managed to save and, like, you know, walk you guys through my whole thought process. It was quite a bit of fun playing through this whole tournament. Now, there won't be any replays for the first round because my opponent unfortunately did not show up, so I got an automatic win due to DQ. But anyway, a lot of fun, and there was a lot of panicky moments, especially given that the fact that I was playing very early in the morning. But hey, I still feel pretty proud of this result. I could have gotten second or first, like, you know, very, very close. But you will see why I was quite understandably upset at one of the matchups that I got. Without further ado, let's get into the deck quickly before moving on to the replays. So this is just a quick highlight of the deck that I used. It's pretty much the same as what I used to get to King of Games with, the only change being that Mahad was replaced with a second copy of Soul Servant. And I honestly will say I don't think the second copy of Soul Servant actually ever came up in a duel. I can't quite remember, but it's still a plan there, you know, just in case. And yeah, there's nothing that I felt that needed to be changed. Maybe some hand traps might change in the future, but we'll see. For now, let's move on to the replays. So here we got the first replay against Galaxy Photon, and I'm going second. You could probably understand why I'm so nervous and, like, you know, sweating throughout this duel. So I drew Draw on Lockbird and Ghost Spell. I got Timaeus and Illusion of Chaos, and it looks like my opponent, unfortunately, bricked going first, so I had a chance to just absolutely demolish my opponent. So I used Illusion of Chaos to grab Rod grabs Circle, activate Circle, change Soul Servant to stack Secrets of Dark Magic on top, just in case that was like a Veiler, like an Imperm or something, or he might have Veiler, who knows. So I activate the skill's effect, shuffling back Draw on Lockbird, because, you know, don't need it going second. If I'm going to go for lethal, play Timaeus, add DM, add Magician Souls, and my opponent quickly scooped the game, and we move straight on to the next one. So we move into game 2 against Galaxy Photon. I'm already up a win, and I'm hoping to get an easy win out of this. So we'll see how it goes. We got 2 Illusion of Chaos, 1 Ghost Spell, and Secrets. So we use Illusion of Chaos, grab Timaeus, we activate our skill, put Illusion of Chaos back, play Timaeus, add DM, and Rod. Then we go Timaeus effect to make DM the Dragon Knight. We normal summon Rod, grab Soul Servant, then we activate our skill's second effect, play DMG to the field. Then we flip summon it, link off DMG and Rod for Hyper Masquerader, the Itemize targets the Dragon Knight to make Dragoon. Then we use Soul Servant to put Salvation on top of the deck, banish Soul Servant, draw 2, activate Salvation, set Eternal Soul, and pass. It's not really the ideal hand, like a couple of hand traps and then pass. One hand trap and, like, combination would have been a bit better, but we do need the Salvation combo. But anyway, you know, it is what it is. We move on from there. So in the draw phase, we shotgun Eternal Soul, summon D the Dragon Knight, and Salvation summons DMG. So our opponent immediately activates their third effect, summoning Photon Lord, and Xyz summons Cypher Blade Dragon to the field. So my opponent uses Cypher Blade Dragon effect to target IP Masquerader. Now, when I was playing this, I was thinking, you know, oh, I should have just used IP Masquerader's effect immediately to, like, you know, get rid of their Cypher Blade Dragon. But unfortunately, my opponent had multiple ways to force it out, leading to, like, you know, my combo, like my end field being very ineffective. We shall say. You'll see why. So I go Dragoon to negate Cypher Blade Dragon. I should use IP, but my opponent had Photon Stream with Destruction, targeting IP. So IP has been targeted twice now. And so I go, okay, I have to use IP's effect now and try and make Goddess before Dragoon blows up Cypher Blade Dragon. But instead, my opponent chains Hyper Galaxy and tributes Cypher Blade Dragon, targeting the DMG. So it's like, okay, you know, I don't want them to have a free Photon Dragon, plus this ruins what I'm trying to go for. So I chain Ghost Spell to negate the Hyper Galaxy. IP resolves linking off DMG and Unicorn, which, to be honest, probably not the best idea, but anyway. So Cypher Blade Dragon is negated, and not gonna lie, I'm possibly thinking, like, you know, maybe I should have just made Goddess right from the get-go. You'll see what happens in a sec. So they grab a Galaxy Soldier, Afterglow Dragon, because they already had the Photon Dragon in hand. Nuts. They use Afterglow Dragon's effect to summon Photon Dragon. They Z-summon number 62, and then they Z-summon Chaos number 62, which, this is instantly game on field. I can't do anything about this. I can't stop this monster from becoming a really massive beater. I just have to sit and watch my opponent do whatever. They had a Photon Jumper in hand as well, which was nuts. So Galaxy Soldier summons itself by sending Photon Jumper. Both of them add a card, and I'm feeling like, you know, at this point, I can't really do anything else. So I have to, like, you know, use Draw and Lockbird, but that doesn't change a thing. I'm just dead. Really unfortunate. I couldn't do anything to stop that. So we move on to Game 3. So it's Game 3. I'm really nervous now because I know that Galaxy Photon can just beat me down, and I'm going first again. So I am thinking, man, I'm going to have a bit of a hard time with this. But, you know, we've got a decent hand here. We've got Circle, we've got Soul Servant, we've got Droll, we've got Prep. Not bad. So we activate Prep, and, like, you know, we're checking for hand traps. There's no Ghost Spell, so I go, okay, Illusion of Chaos. No Droll and Lockbird. So we use Illusion of Chaos, adding Tamias to hand, and I put back Illusion of Chaos, which, to be honest, I should have put back Soul Servant. Mainly because, pause there for a second, mainly because if I activate Circle, I can grab Soul Servant back, and then I don't have to put Droll and Lockbird back into my deck. I could put Illusion of Chaos back into my deck instead. So that way we would have a discard. But anyway, so we played Tamias, returning Droll and Lockbird. We add DM and we add Rod, because we've got a lot of our good pieces here that we need. So we go Tamias, check for hand traps, no Imperm, no Veiler, no Ghost Mourner either. So we make DM the Dragon Knight, nice. We activate Rod, we grab Salvation, so we're looking pretty good here. We go Salvation immediately, set Eternal Soul, like, it doesn't really matter particularly what order you do it in, just as long as you do it before Circle. So then we activate a skill, second effect of the skill, setting DMG, adding the Tamias. As you all know, Link summon into IP Masquerena, the Tamias targets the Dragon Knight, makes Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Then we activate Circle and we chain Soul Servant so we can grab our combination. Very important. So we grab a combination, we banish Soul Servant for a draw 2, and we have an Effect Veiler, which is very damn nice. We also have our second Soul Servant, which, you know, we're not really going to get much use out of it this match, unless it turns into a grind game. So we finish our combo in turn, and we pass it to our opponent, and they summon Photon Lord with the third effect of the skill. So what I realized, when they normal summon Galaxy Wizard, they do not have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in the hand. That's very important. If you see a Galaxy Photon player normal summoning Galaxy Wizard, then they do not have access to Photon Dragon, and they are trying to get access to Photon Dragon. Or it could be Bait. I went with the belief that they had no Photon Dragon whatsoever, so I immediately used Effect Veiler to negate its effects. They make Cypher Blade Dragon with Photon Lord, and so instead of letting them go through with anything, I activate Eternal Soul to summon DM from the graveyard. And notice they actually drew into a Ghost Spell. Scary. I think they either drew into it or they had it during my turn when I activated Preparation of Rites, and for some reason they allowed Preparation of Rites to resolve. No clue why, but anyway, it is what it is. So I go Dragoon to negate, and they have Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal in hand, and they chain it so they can summon Tachyon Primal. Fair enough. So the chain resolves, Tachyon Primal is summoned to the field, Ghost Spell's negated, I summon Dean the Dragon Knight, Tachyon Primal's mandatory effect activates, Circle activates, targeting Cypher Blade Dragon to get rid of it, banishing it. They add Tachyon Transmigration, which that's not going to do anything to us whatsoever. So they ended up activating the second effect of their skill and played Afterglow Dragon from their hand. So they only get to add one Galaxy or Photon monster to their hand instead of two if they played Photon Dragon instead. So they are down a card and they can only get Photon Dragon in hand. Now, that is... yeah, this is a interesting ad, but anyway. So what happens, they Z-summon Galaxy Photon Dragon using Galaxy Wizard and Afterglow. Galaxy Photon Dragon's effect activates, detaching Afterglow. So instead of letting that resolve, I chain Culmination, tribute Dean the Dragon Knight, summon DMG, and then Salvation will target DMG and summon it. Afterglow Dragon will summon a Photon Dragon to the field with its effect because it was detached. That's fine. They link summon Soulflare Dragon. That's not going to do anything whatsoever to us on my turn. Like, that's absolutely fine. Soulflare Dragon's effect activates, grabbing Afterglow Dragon. Then they activate Afterglow Dragon's effect, summoning Afterglow Dragon to the field. And I wait for them to Z-summon. Important. Wait for them, because if they're trying to summon number 62, they've got other cards in hand. I don't want them, you know, potentially comboing off and making number 62 anyway. So they make number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. Now, they have Transmigration in hand. They can activate Transmigration if they want. But for some reason, my opponent chooses not to. They choose not to use Transmigration for whatever reason possible. I don't know what was going through their head at that point in time, but hey, it works in my favor. So I make Goddess, and they're pretty well screwed. They activate Galaxy Trans. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I am probably going to die to number 62, but I almost forgot. Underworld Goddess negate. Boom. They can't do anything else. They have Transmigration in hand. They're pretty well dead, so I just attack for game. And that is match secured against Galaxy Photon Dragon. Very, very scary, but we move on to the quarterfinals. So we are in game one of the quarterfinals, and I'm facing against an opponent that is using what was apparently a pile deck. So like they piled so many cards together. I saw the deck list during the Freshy Cup stream, and it was absurd to see, like, you know, Branded, Dino, Thunder Dragons. I think there was what else? There was some other cards as well. Oh yeah, it was Tachyon stuff as well. Just a pile deck. And a Horus as well, and it's like, interesting. Anyway, so I had no clue how this deck was going to play as I was playing through the games. So I'm just going to, like, you know, play like normal and just set up my normal combos. I will say prior, I had no clue what my opponent was playing. I knew they were playing something weird. I heard inklings of, like, you know, it being Dinos, Thunder Dragon, so I was like, okay, you know, let's try and deal with that. So we use Illusion Chaos, add Timaeus, and return Illusion Chaos. This is where I messed up. I was supposed to return DM, no Illusion of Chaos. So I activated Circle and whiffed. I had nothing to add. So I have to use a first effect of the skill, shuffle Ghost Spell back, play Timaeus, and then add Rod and Soul Servant. So I'm kind of down a card, unfortunate. I make Dean the Dragon Knight, normal summon Rod, Rod grabs Salvation, then we use the skill second effect, set DMG to the field, grab the Eye of Timaeus, and of course the same play over and over. The Eye of Timaeus makes Dragoon just in case. Then we activate Salvation, set a card. Here we activate Soul Servant. We don't go into IP just yet. We grab Combination, banish, draw 2, link summon IP Masquerade, set Combination and pass. So we've got our interruptions ready to go, and our opponent activates Book of Eclipse right off the rip. Well, great. Now I have to negate that. I can't, like, that's the one card I have to stop regardless. So my opponent normal summons Armageddon Knight. I'm thinking, okay, maybe Orcust? I don't know. Like, you know, I heard they're playing Dino Dragons, but like, would you use it in Dino Dragons? I wasn't sure. They sent Overtex Quarterfinals. And I'm like, oh, that's a little scary. But anyway, Overtex grabs double evolution pill. I'm now thinking, oh, great. Double evolution pill is going to be very scary if they make if they summon UCT or another Overtex. So like, I have to stop this card. So they go precious cards of the dark, put a card back, and draw 3. I completely forgot that the precious cards skills were buffed, and so seeing a draw 3 is incredibly scary. They activate Gold Sark, banish Thunder Dragon Roar, and they summon Thunder Dragon Dark. Now, I cannot banish this whatsoever. Like, I know my opponent is going to do some ridiculous crap. They might summon Colossus, I got no clue. So I'm going to activate Eternal Soul, summon DM the Dragon Knight, and I'm going to banish Armageddon Knight. I'm not letting anything go through. Like, you know, I don't want them to, like, you know, I don't want them to add a free Thunder Dragon card from the deck and then, like, you know, get further recurrence and all that. So that was my reasoning behind banishing Armageddon Knight. They activate double evolution pill, banishing Overtex and Despian Tragedy. It's like, what the hell is this person playing? I've got no clue. I'm scared. Like, I have no idea what the hell my opponent is doing. Like, your opponent playing random stuff is way more scarier than a coherent strategy. I'm telling you now. So I activate combination, summon DMG, negate a double evolution pill, Salvation, summon Dragon Knight. They make Typhon as a last resort, and that was an instant game over for them. Because I activate Hyper Masquerader, they scoop instantly. I can just make Goddess, get rid of their Typhon, and then I win the game on the spot. So, time to go into game 2. We're now in game 2 of the quarterfinals, and I'm going first again. And I'm aware that my opponent is playing some kind of pile deck, and I bricked. This is bad. This is really bad. Soul Servant, Secrets, Eternal Soul, and Droll and Logbird. I can't do anything with this hand. Nothing whatsoever. So I have to set Soul Servant, Eternal Soul, and pass. I have to pray that my opponent can't combo. Like, pray really, really hard that my opponent just draws the most, like, the biggest bricks possible, and, like, their skill doesn't get them anything whatsoever. So they draw a card, they activate the skill, returning a card and drawing 3. Now, I'm very concerned. They've got some potential players. I have no clue. So, they activate Crimson Gaia. I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? We're playing, like, you know, RDA stuff in this deck now. This deck is just confusing. So they activate that. And what I do, when they use the effect to add a Red Dragon Archfiend or card that mentions it from deck or graveyard to hand, I activate Soul 7 to grab Dark Magic Attack because I want to make sure I'm thinning my deck and, like, you know, ensuring that the next draw will be good, and so on. I've got, like, you know, extra cards for future negates and so on, just in case. Or, like, you know, I want to blow up a bunch of back row if I can get a chance to, like, you know, have a turn. They add Vision Resonator, and so I activate Droll and Logbird, praying that this does something. So they set 2 or set 3 and pass. It paid off. Droll and Logbird paid off extremely well. So in the end phase, I activate Soul 7 to stack Tomice on top. And we've just got a combo right here. I activate the Eye of the United Dragon, set DM to the field, adding the Eye of Tomice to hand, flip summon DM, blow up the entire spell and trap zone, use the Eye of Tomice on DM to make Dragoon, and then I can use Dragoon, pop the Vision Resonator, activate my skill's first effect, play Tomice, add DMG and DM. Like, I don't need to do anything else at this point, really. I've got game on the field. So I banish Soul 7, draw 1, and that's game right there. Pretty damn crazy. I'm not sure how this pile deck managed to make it this far into the quarterfinals. But anyway, we move on to the semifinals, where things unfortunately unravel for me. The semifinals against Yusei Fudo using a legendary skill. You all know where this is going. It's Stardust slop. It is Starlight Drive slop, and I am not happy about this matchup whatsoever because I knew beforehand that this particular player plays this deck, and it is boring, it's cringe, I absolutely hate it. I can't believe Konami haven't nerfed it. Anyway, rant over. Let's get into the combos. So we activate Illusion of Chaos, add Tomice, put Illusion of Chaos back, we put back Ghost Bell, because Ghost Bell doesn't really do anything against a bunch of this deck's graveyard effects. Very annoying. I've got a Droplet as well, because you're like, I need to keep the Droplet. So I had DM and Rod, Timaeus to make DM the Dragon Knight. Then we normal summon Rod. We use Rod to grab Soul Servant. Activate the Eye United Dragon, set DMG, add the Eye Timaeus, flip summon DMG, use the Eye Timaeus to make Dragoon with DM the Dragon Knight. Then we use Soul Servant, stack Salvation, and I banish Soul Servant to draw 2. I unfortunately drew Eternal Soul. Really bad draw. Do never want to draw Eternal Soul. This sucked a lot. So my Dragoon negate, I had to decide whether I was going to use Joel and Lockbird or whether I was going to use Dragoon. That really sucked. I couldn't do anything about that. So I have to put up with the suboptimal combo. I make IP, activate Salvation, set Eternal Soul, set Droplet, and pass. I can't really do much. And they've got Engage. That's a problem. So I need to summon DM the Dragon Knight, and I also need to get Rod into hand for a negate because they've added Vector Blast. I need to stop this. They're gonna get rid of IP. They activate their skill. Oh boy, I can't really do much about this. Like, they've got it on the field, and they send Quillbot Hedgehog, Plague Spreader Zombie, and Quillbot Hedgehog to the grave. Very lucky sends. I can't really stop this, to be honest. So, they activate Vector Blast. I can't let this resolve. Crap. So, I have to, chain Dragoon, and yeah, to negate the Vector Blast. Honestly, what I should have done was, like, when I resolved Salvation, I should have distributed DMG straight away to grab a discard for Dragoon and, like, make IP to get rid of the Stardust Dragon, but I didn't. So they got another engage. Great. I'm screwed. I can't stop this. They activate Vector Blast, so what I have to do, foolishly, I make Underworld Goddess, which is unaffected by the opponent's activated effects, but that doesn't stop them. Doesn't stop them whatsoever. They summon Stardust, they've got Shooting Star. Shooting Star pops Forbidden Droplet. I've got nothing now. And Quillbot Hedgehog is not once per turn, so I can't do anything. So they summon 2, they make the Phantom Knight's a Cursed Javelin. Oh boy, great. Well, Goddess just sitting there doing nothing, and it's negated now. So they make Herald of the Arclight by normal summoning Quillbot Hedgehog, and then sending Formula Secret on Quillbot Hedgehog. I'm pretty well screwed. They just attack me for game. I can't do anything. Sucks. So, we move on to game 2. We should go better, right? Right? I'm going first again. Not good. I don't want to go first against this deck. This deck is so annoying, I'm better off going second. But anyway, the game gives me my hand. Combination, Rod, Illusion Chaos, and Eternal Soul. It's okay. So I grab Timaeus, put back Eternal Soul, normal summon Rod, add Soul Servant, then we activate the skill's effect, putting Illusion Chaos back, adding DM and Salvation after playing Timaeus. Use Timaeus to make DM the Dragon Knight. Then we use the Eye United Dragon's effect, play DMG to the field, and of course the usual plays. Link summon IP Masquerena, the Eye of Timaeus to make Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. We activate Salvation, set Eternal Soul. Then we activate Soul Servant to grab Circle, banish 2. We got Circle and Timaeus, which is alright. Circle, adding DM, not bad. Then we set Combination and pass. Now, this should hopefully stop my opponent, right? That's what I thought. No. But no, I think I messed up majorly. So, they use the skills, second effect, playing Stardust, and all 3 sends were Quillbot Hedgehog. So I'm thinking, okay, they should hopefully not have a tune-up. So I shotgun Eternal Soul once they flip Stardust Dragon, summoning in the Dragon Knight, banish it. They got Vector Blast. I'm prepared for this. So I use Dragoon's Negate. Gotta stop that at all costs. I'm actually prepared. They had a second Vector Blast. Culmination negate. Easy done. Easy fix. No problem whatsoever. Salvation targets DMG, summons Demon Dragonite, and I put everything in defense because I don't want to get OTK'd. And they have Plague Spreader Zombie. Now, if they have a tuner on the field, Quillot Hedgehog can use its effect. And what I failed to realize is that without any tuners, they can't do anything. And I should have used Nightmare Unicorn to shuffle it back. But I waited too long, and they were able to activate Quillot Hedgehog. I can't do anything from this point. I can't really do anything from this point onwards to stop them. I can make Underworld Goddess. Sure, I can do that. Stops the effect from resolving. But they can use Plague Spreader Zombie. I can negate it. That's fine. They can just do it again. And this is whole combo just from these cards. They make Phantom Knight's a Cursed Javelin, put Goddess to 0, Underclock Taker, summon another Quillot Hedgehog. At this point, they are just BMing. They could just kill me because I know they run Crusadia Equimax. They are BMing at this point, and I am really, really angry that they're just stalling for time. Like, they're just wasting time when they can just get it over with. But no. See, look, they just grab whatever, they summon Rod, they summon Grand Tusk, and then they make Equimax. Like, you know, they could have just made that straight from the get-go, no problem whatsoever, because with my DM Dragonite on the right-hand side, giving them 3000 attack, that's all they needed. But no, they wanted to BM. So whatever. So I just scooped because it's a waste of time, and they've got the game. I, unfortunately, could not stop that, and I could have made some better plays to stop that at all costs. And Konami, if you happen to come across this video and watch this, no one likes this skill because people only play stun stall tactics. It's cringe. I hate it. Everyone hates it. Get rid of it ASAP. Nerf it. Hit a bunch of cards. Hit Quillot Hedgehog for crying out loud. Stop this skill. Kill it. 100%. So those were all the replays and my thoughts behind them, behind all the lines I performed. And honestly, if I didn't come across the Stardust Dragon matchup, I could have gotten a better result. But, you know, it is what it is. Things happen, and yeah. Will I change my hand traps just to accommodate playing against Starlight Drive? No. I believe the Starlight Drive skill is a sacky deck that depends on the opponent not knowing what points to stop the interactions, which now that I understand more how to stop it completely, I will be ensuring that I stop it at all costs and make sure they do not get to combo whatsoever. But yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what direction I'm going to take the deck. I'm probably going to stick with this and keep entering some more tournaments, try and get some more tops, and see, if we can get some first places, because that would be nice. Get DM noticed, and it's good practice for the KC Cup as well, because when the second stage comes along, I'm going to be shooting for top 500, and if I can possibly get top 100, I'm going to be over the moon about it. But top 100 is another roadblock we'll come across for KC Cup. The tournaments as well is a roadblock that we will come across and try and overcome, because there's a lot of good decks, a lot of strategies to learn, a lot of counters to learn as well, and I am going to do my best to make sure that you guys know the counters and know how to play against the specific decks. And yeah, that is all for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.